Chosen one. Exploitation is the shadow that chases every bright thing. When the world sees light, it asks how to bottle it, brand it, and sell it back to itself. When wounded people see light, they sometimes try to eat it because they were starved where they should have been fed. When insecure parts of you see light, they may be tempted to harvest it from others to keep your glow from dimming. This chapter is for fending off all three, without dimming, without hardening, without becoming the very thing you escaped. Begin with the ethics of gaze. How you look determines how you are looked at. Let your eyes be instruments, not hooks. Regard people with curiosity that honors their center, not with appraisal that hunts for usefulness. Gaze that consumes trains the room to consume you back. Gaze that blesses teaches the room to breathe. When you enter a space, refuse to shop for validation. Refuse to make a meal of another's vulnerability in the name of intimacy. Radiance becomes exploitation the moment it turns attention into appetite. Choose reverence over acquisition, and your presence will start to heal the vision of those who meet it. Carry consent as climate, not checklist. Consent is not a signature you collect to baptize your whims. It is the culture that keeps power clean. Name your thresholds with clarity so no one has to guess where safety lives with you. Keep your yes specific, your no unpunishing, your maybe rare. In digital rooms, practice consent with the same fidelity. Do not forward what was shared for your eyes. Do not fish for confessions with leading prompts dressed as concern. Do not engineer chemistry for content. The glow you carry does not need a camera to be real. Resist the urge to monetize every moment. The soul cannot live on revenue. Reject the alchemy that tries to turn people into platforms. The temptation will be subtle, a story that would make your post soar if you bend it towards spectacle, a collaboration that would explode your reach if you flatten a friend into a prop, a testimony that would boost your brand if you angle it around you. Say no at the root. Tell the story that protects the person or do not tell it. Collaborate in ways that let both names keep their dignity. Share testimonies as altars, not advertisements. Radiance elevates others without needing credit to validate the lift. Your crown will not slip if you set it down to serve. Keep power porous to truth. The brighter your life, the more insulation you will be offered. Soft words, curated rooms, mirrors that only face one way. Do not let insulation become isolation. Invite correction from people who love God more than they love your glow. Ask them whether your kindness still includes accountability, whether your humor still avoids humiliation, whether your generosity still leaves recipients free. Predators grow in climates where they cannot be told no. Saints grow in climates where no is received as grace. Let yourself be taught, and your light will keep its humility. Tend your own appetites with tenderness and honesty. Exploitation often begins when hunger is denied until it demands shortcuts. Feed the hungers God gave you in ways God blesses. Touch in covenant, affirmation in community, significance in service, wonder in worship. Play in rhythms that don't bankrupt your future. When your needs are dignified, you stop hunting people to meet them in ways that fracture trust. When your desires are named, you stop calling manipulation chemistry. Radiance that is well-fed becomes refuge. Radiance that is starving becomes risk. Practice anonymity as medicine. Choose rooms where you are delightfully unremarkable, where your beauty is not a currency to trade, but a simple part of being human. Let someone else go first. Let others get the credit without crafting a narrative about your humility. Disappear for an afternoon without telling the internet where you went. Anonymity detoxes the reflex to harvest your life for attention and returns your light to its proper purpose. Illumination, not exhibition. You are a person before you are a presence. Protect wonder from metrics. Exploitation loves to count, love loves to keep. Resist the conversion of every joy into analytics. If a moment was holy, let it remain whole. If a conversation changed you, let the change be the proof. If an encounter felt like God walking past, keep the hem of that garment for prayer, not for proof. Numbers can be good servants and brutal masters. Radiance without exploitation measures impact by fruit. Patience that lengthens, mercy that deepens, communities that tell fewer lies. Not by spikes on a graph that forget your name in a week. Set economic boundaries that keep you free. It is not unspiritual to insist on fair pay for honest work. It is unholy to accept silent deals that purchase your conscience. Decline projects that require you to flatten your convictions into slogans. Decline gifts that ask you to attend altars you do not worship at. Decline perks that cost you the ability to tell the truth later. Money that muzzles is too expensive. Provision that partners with your calling is the only kind you can afford. The light you carry is priceless, treat it as such. When you fail at this, and you will in small ways because learning is lumpy, repent quickly. Repentance is the reset button that restores brightness to service. Apologize without theatrics, repair without recruitment, adjust without public pity. People will learn to trust your light not because it never casts a shadow, but because you refuse to pretend the shadow is the sun. In that humility, exploitation runs out of oxygen. Predation thrives in secrecy. Stewardship thrives in the open air of truth. Finally, let your radiance be a commons, not a commodity. A commons is space people enter and leave without being farmed. It is a park where children play safely, a library where minds expand, a sanctuary where hearts remember. Build that. Be that. Show up to rooms and lower the temperature until quiet gifts can breathe. Leave rooms and let calm linger because you did not hoard it for yourself. Teach with your life that beauty is safest when it is most human, that power is purest when it is most porous, that chosen ones glow brightest when they refuse to turn anyone, including themselves, into a product. Walk on with unhurried certainty. Keep the lamp trimmed and the doors discerned. Let the world draw near for warmth and leave with dignity intact. If they ask why this light does not burn or bind, tell them the truth in words simple enough to memorize. I am held, so I do not have to hold anyone hostage. I am fed, so I do not have to feed on anyone. I am sent, so I do not have to sell myself. This is radiance without exploitation, and it is the signature of chosen ones who learn that beauty is strongest when it is safe. Chosen one, there is a kind of prayer that does not begin with words. It begins with the way you show up in a room. Breath steady, gaze kind, spine remembering its height. This month, your radiance has become that kind of prayer. You are not simply looked at, you are looked through, as light through clear water, and what passes through you becomes petition. The brightness on your face has been recruited into intercession. Without announcing anything, you are standing in the gap for those who forget they are beautiful, for those who learn to read desire as danger, for those who mistook holiness for hiding. Your glow argues gently on their behalf. Let there be light, and let it be safe to be seen. Intercession, carried in this way, is climate work. You regulate the temperature so tenderness does not freeze and truth does not overheat. Someone begins to confess what they've been carrying, and your stillness lengthens their courage. Someone else starts to perform because attention makes them anxious, and your unhurried presence persuades their shoulders to descend. This is not charisma, it is advocacy. You are telling the room, without telling the room, that human bodies can be altars rather than arenas. That affection can be generous without becoming greedy. That admiration can be honest without becoming ownership. The prayer rises from your restraint as much as from your sentences. Beauty as intercession means your yes and no become priestly. When you bless a clean approach with welcome, you are inviting heaven to write a new script for how attraction behaves. When you decline a trespass with gentleness, you are closing doors that once led to self-betrayal, not only for you, but for anyone watching who needs a model. The temptation is to believe that prayer must be loud to be real. Your life is proving that prayers embodied consistently can move heavier furniture than prayers shouted occasionally. You are not rescuing anyone, you are refusing to reenact the old harm, and refusal has become a form of prayer. Your radiance has also begun to advocate for those who are not in the room. You find yourself thinking of the unseen, the coworker who shrinks at praise because it was always a prelude to demand, the friend who sabotages joy because joy was confiscated too many times, the stranger on a screen who turns beauty into bait because they were taught they had no other currency. The energy in your body lends them your steadiness in secret. You call their names in the quiet, the way incense carries scent into hidden rafters. You ask for rescue where you cannot go, repair where you cannot stand, companions where you cannot stay. The prayer does not drain you because you have learned to pray from overflow, not from panic. You do not force outcomes. You hold openings. There is a sacrament in your laughter now, and it intercedes as well. You laugh without checking who is measuring it, and a neighborhood remembers that joy does not have to be rationed. You enjoy a meal without trading your boundaries to pay for it, and someone nearby feels permission to taste their life without apology. You create in public, write, sing, build, design, and your excellence without exhibition convinces onlookers that mastery can be holy. Each ordinary act becomes a bridge thrown across the old chasms between desire and goodness. You practice crossing, then you wave others over. The bridge itself is prayer. Intercession requires consecration, and consecration is costly only to what should not own you. There will be moments when your beauty is recruited by the room for a story you no longer tell. The flattery will be warm. The plot will be familiar. The old version of you will miss the stage. You will feel the tug to use your glow to gather a crowd instead of gather the lost parts of a person. In that moment, remember what you are doing here. You were not lit to become a lighthouse for your own name. You were lit so ships without maps could find shore. Let the wave of appetite roll past. Keep the beam steady. The ship matters more than the shout. Intercession, carried by beauty, also asks for anonymity. There are prayers your presence performs better when no one knows you are praying. You will enter a meeting and refuse to compete, and the agenda will find integrity. You will stand in line and offer a tired cashier your patience, and an entire shift will remember its dignity. You will choose to leave a conversation before it becomes a spectacle, and a conflict will lose its funding. No one will clap for that. Heaven will sing. The song is not louder than the room. It is truer than the noise. In the hidden place, you must let yourself be interceded for too. Bring your radiance to the one who lit it and trade the day's admiration for an hour of accuracy. Tell the truth about the moments you were tempted to harvest attention that did not belong to you. Tell the truth about the ache that still wants healing to arrive as applause. Receive the answering kindness that does not flatter or scold. Receive the correction that builds a second floor on your character without cracking the foundation. Beauty kept in prayer stays porous to God. Beauty kept only in mirrors becomes brittle and breaks. There will be nights when you feel like a wick burning on behalf of others. Do not dramatize the fatigue and do not deny it. Trim the wick. Safeguard your oil. Sleep inside promises older than your month of glow. Let love intercede for you in friends who do not need your radiance to feel secure, and in scriptures that do not need your performance to be true. The morning will find you not merely restored, but recalibrated. The intercession will continue, not because you strive, but because streams do not forget how to flow once the rocks are moved. So walk the city like an answered prayer. Touch doorframes as though they were thresholds between worry and wonder. Offer your hours like candles in a sanctuary people can enter on ordinary Tuesdays. If someone asks what you are doing, you can tell them the simplest truth you know. I am letting the light on my face advocate for the light in yours. That sentence is a song now. Let it sing through you without effort. Let it keep singing after you leave the room. Chosen one, the month of radiance is not only a call to give, it is a summons to receive. This may be the steeper climb. Many who glow gracefully in service stumble when goodness crosses the threshold uninvited, asking to be accepted without proof of worthiness. Scarcity carved grooves in your instincts and they still try to steer the wheel. Repay at once. Repay with interest. Refuse what cannot be balanced by a gift of equal shine. God is teaching you another economics. Receiving is not debt. Receiving is discipleship. It trains your heart to trust the giver more than your performance, and people more than your fear. Begin with the smallest practice, clean and quiet, thank you. Not the breathless monologue that performs gratitude to avoid envy, not the long explanation that dilutes kindness into obligation, just a sentence that lets the gift land. Let it land when someone holds a door and when someone holds a silence that spares your soul. Let it land when a mentor says your name in a room you could not enter, and when a child offers you a drawing that looks like a sunrise from another planet. The landing is the miracle. Gifts that land become seed. Gifts deflected by shame or speed cannot grow. Receiving without owing requires you to retire secret contracts. Admiration is not a password to your calendar. Kindness is not a mortgage on your boundaries. Opportunity is not an altar tax on your convictions. If a gift arrives with strings, name the strings and return them before you accept the bow. You can keep the flower and give back the leash. This is not ingratitude, it is integrity. It protects the giver from the part of themselves that wants to purchase you, and it protects you from the part of yourself that will trade your peace to avoid disappointing anyone. The cleanest gifts leave both hearts free. You will need to welcome help, like a language you're relearning. Pride, cleverly dressed as resilience, will insist you carry your own bags because you always have. Let strong hands lift with you, let wise eyes edit your draft. Let someone who loves you drive when your body is doing that. Tremble it does after very long days. Let counsel speak before the decision cements. Receiving help does not shrink you. It sizes you for the future by proving that the life you are building does not depend on your overreach. Chosen ones cannot be entrusted with more if their yes requires self-erasure to be accomplished. Receiving also includes compliments, and here the training is delicate. When praise arrives, your nervous system wants to either drink it like a desert or knock it away like a fly. Do neither. Sip it as if it were water at a table that will not run out. You do not have to correct a clean compliment with a confession of your worst day. You do not have to expand a clean compliment into a campaign. Let the sentence be complete. Let it join the archive where God's faithfulness keeps the evidence that you are growing. When criticism arrives with truth inside it, receive that too, without swallowing the packaging. Extract the sentence that helps you become more accurate and return the rest to sender. Receiving is not passivity, it is precision. There is a deep place where receiving must heal childhood arithmetic. The child in you learned that love arrives with a bill, or else it isn't real. Sit with that child in a chair that remembers long stories. Offer them a gift with no strings, time, patience, a snack, a nap, and do not withdraw it when they test you. Show them, by repetition, that goodness can stay without performance. Teach them to recognize the difference between generosity and grooming. The body will follow the lesson. Muscles that once braced at every compliment will unclench. Eyes that once darted for exits when kindness walked in will start to linger. This is not indulgence. It is re-education in how kingdom economy works. Receiving without owing has a rhythm, and rest keeps the beat. You cannot accept gifts if your schedule has stolen every pocket where delight could sit down. Build margins that make welcome possible. Leave unassigned hours so hospitality does not turn into hustle. Say no to one more appearance so you can say yes to a long meal with a person who does not need your shine to like your company. Stop collecting "I'll rest when" and start living "I rest so that." The glow God gave you this month is not a machine to be run at max. It is a garden to be tended. Gardens receive rain. They do not apologize for it. You will practice receiving from God in ways that scandalize the part of you still negotiating. He will hand you peace in the middle of an unsolved equation and ask you to sleep. He will hand you favor in a room where your resume is thinner than another's and ask you to remain kind. He will hand you clarity about a relationship and ask you to act on it before you can curate everyone's reaction. You will be tempted to earn these gifts after the fact with extra toil. Resist that penance. Let gratitude convert into obedience, not into performance. Obedience is how you say thank you in heaven's dialect. There is also receiving that looks like letting go. The door you prayed would open may close with a softness that feels like mercy, disguised as refusal. Take the refusal as a gift spared, not a gift denied. There are places your beauty would be consumed and careers your brightness would be caged. God is not stingy, He is strategic. Accept the redirection and invest your radiance where it multiplies fruit instead of followers. The ledger of heaven measures outcomes in changed lives and kept covenants, not in headlines. Remember that some gifts you can only receive by staying vulnerable in community. Let your friends celebrate you without turning the party into a panel on whether you deserve it. Let elders lay hands on you even when you feel too grown for blessing. Let the younger ones teach you joy that you forgot when life taught you calculus. These exchanges do not indebt you. They locate you inside a net that can hold you when the month turns and the voltage lowers. Your radiance is personal. Your resilience is communal. And when you misstep, when you overpay a simple kindness with access you didn't want to give, when you starve a friendship by refusing what it longs to offer, repair quickly. Name what happened. Revoke the secret contract. Return to the clean sentence you have been practicing. Thank you. The people who are meant to walk with you will not require interest. They will be relieved by your clarity. They were not giving to trap you. They were giving because love is most itself when it moves. Walk into the remainder of this month with open hands and a guarded heart, not because you are afraid, but because you are precise. Let goodness find you and let it stay until it becomes strength. Let admiration pass through you like sunlight through leaves. Warming, not warping. Let opportunity come and be tested by your triad, clean, sustainable, loving without lying. And let your answer, whether yes or no, carry no debt. Receiving without owing is not entitlement. It is alignment with a God who gives freely and a self who no longer needs to purchase what has already been promised. Chosen one, there is a difference between being powerful in a room and being safe to stand near. The radiance on you this month is unmistakable, and the current coursing through your body could easily be spent on spectacle. But God's intent is quieter and far more enduring. Your strength is meant to feel like shelter. Think of old stone buildings that hold their temperature even when the weather turns, of trees that remember how to make shade in every season. That is the assignment. Become a climate where others can breathe. Refuge begins with how you handle your voltage when no one is applauding. The body hums. You do not reach for the nearest spark to release it. You give the charge purpose. You let it thread through prayer until urgency learns patience. You pour it into craft until inspiration develops muscle. You move it through your limbs until adrenaline becomes rhythm. Power that rests instead of rages is the kind people trust. It will feel to others like a steady lamp in a storm, light offered without interrogation, warmth that does not burn as it blesses. Your words must become architecture. Refuge lives in sentences that keep dignity intact. You will be tempted, when attention tilts toward you, to sharpen your language so it dazzles. Resist cutting where you can carve. Say only what makes repair more likely. Ask questions that turn down heat without turning down truth. Give people the mercy of clarity. Yes, that is holy yes. No, that is kindly no. Later, that is an actual time rather than a stall. Rooms learn safety when promises are small and kept. Power as refuge will change the choreography of your presence. You stop competing for center and start cultivating edges so shy gifts can emerge. You angle your chair to make space for quieter voices. You do not take the easy laugh that costs someone else their softness. You decline to reenact old dramas just because the lighting is flattering and the audience is eager. Your high energy could dominate any circle. You choose instead to moderate the atmosphere so everyone's humanity can appear. People will leave your company unsure of why they feel taller. It is because you refuse to shrink them to stay bright. Protection is part of the task, but not the theatrical kind that confuses rescuing with leadership. Refuge protects by policy. It is the tone you set before conflict arrives. We tell the truth here without humiliation. We end conversations before contempt pays rent. We return after rest so repair can happen. It is the boundary you keep when flattery knocks with a discount for your values. It is the call you make when someone's silence hides injury rather than humility. This protection is not loud. It is effective. Storms still come, but roofs stop flying. There will be moments when the room tries to spend your peace as currency. You're the only one who can fix this, urgency will say. Stay just a bit longer, performance will urge, hoping you will mortgage tomorrow to keep tonight exciting. Here, refuge says no without apology. It remembers that safety is sustainable, or it is not safety at all. You end the evening while you still respect yourself. You close the laptop before your kindness evaporates. You leave the conversation when your honesty is the next thing at risk. These exits are not punishments. They are the doors that keep the house standing for another day. Refuge also means you become interruptible in holy ways. When harm tries to make a home in your presence, gossip dressed as fellowship, flirtation that ignores consent, humor that gnaws at someone's worth, you interrupt gently and firmly. Not here. Let's talk to them, not about them. We can pause until this can be kind. The sentences are simple. Their effect is profound. Predators learn they cannot hunt where you host. The wounded learn they do not have to bleed for belonging. Everyone learns a better grammar for desire. Warmth that honors, attention that asks permission, affection that keeps its hands open. Let your body participate in refuge. Sit in ways that signal welcome without surrendering your center. Breathe at a pace that drags frantic conversations towards sanity. Keep your hands relaxed so your presence doesn't feel like a verdict. Dress like a person ready to work and worship, anchored in your own skin, uninterested in costumes that barter access. These physical choices are pastoral. They teach observers how to be alive without becoming bait, how to be beautiful without becoming brittle. To be a refuge, you must have one. So build replenishment as if your calling depends on it, because it does. Take walks that are longer than your notifications. Keep friendships that delight in you when your month is ordinary. Let Scripture settle you before you are asked to settle anyone else. Sleep like someone who intends to be reliable tomorrow. The light you carry for others will not flicker if the oil is real. And when the day empties you, do not dramatize exhaustion into martyrdom. Refuel without press release. Quiet faithfulness is the signature of safe power. What of those who will try to camp in your shade without choosing growth? Refuge is not residency for refusal. Offer maps. Offer time-limited help. Offer prayer that does not pretend to be control. If they weaponize their need against your boundaries, let distance do its teaching. Your shelter is for storms, not for sabotage. The high energy in you is meant to power protection, not to subsidize cycles that will not repent. You will know power has become refuge by what lingers after you leave. Arguments cool faster. Laughter sounds less hungry. People ask better of themselves without you having to ask for them. Even your enemies, if you have them, because truth does that sometimes, run out of appetite for war. There is nothing to feed on in you. You are not playing the old games. You have made a different kind of weather. And when the month shifts and the voltage recedes to something more ordinary, the shelter will remain. It will remain because you built it with choices, not with mood. The radiance may dim a notch, the refuge will not. It is a house now, not a headline. Those who found safety will keep finding it, and you will keep offering it as a matter of course rather than a moment. This is how chosen ones carry power, not as a spotlight to stand under, but as a roof to stand beneath together. Chosen one, standards are not slogans, they are habits that learned how to hold. This month of brightness has been more than a season of attention. It has been an installation of policy in your soul. You are becoming a living standard, a plumb line others unconsciously check against when the room forgets its shape. Not a judge, not an idol, not a brand, simply a person whose repeated choices behave like law. A living standard begins with a private constitution. You have been drafting it in ordinary ink for months. Clean first, sustainable second, loving without lying third. You didn't frame those words on a wall. You practiced them until your calendar could recite them back. They show up in how you schedule rest before you collapse, in how you end a message while your tone is still generous, in how you forgive without re-enlisting yourself into harm. People will call you disciplined. You will know you are simply consistent. Consistency is holiness with a work ethic. Standards become visible when pressure rises. Your radiance draws invitations that flatter the ego and starve the future. The living standard answers with a soft no that doesn't require a villain to feel strong. An opportunity can be wrong for you without being wicked. Decline it and bless those who can hold it. A compliment can be true without earning access. Receive it and keep your boundaries in place. A conflict can be real without becoming theater. Address it directly and refuse the audience. Your refusal to dramatize teaches more than your arguments ever could. To become a standard, you must also normalize repair. Write your apology ahead of time so you can mean it when you need it. I was wrong. Here is the change. Here is how you will know it's real. In a culture that treats contrition as content, make yours a covenant. Let the people closest to you see repentance reach your schedule, not just your sentiments. The living standard is not the myth of flawlessness. It is the practice of calibration. You remain trustworthy because you remain adjustable. Your standard will touch how you carry authority. You no longer mistake visibility for permission or volume for vision. When you lead, you reward honesty over charisma, process over panic, outcomes that bless over optics that trend. You stop hiring urgency to manage what only patience can. You are willing to step back so others can step up, not as performance but as policy. Leadership as stewardship, not possession. The team learns that being near you does not require audition. They bring you truth unvarnished because you do not punish them for it. Culture shifts. Meetings get shorter, outcomes get kinder. This is governance without a gavel. The living standard also sets terms for intimacy. You've decided that affection is free and access is earned. You do not extract loyalty by testing people's limits. You invite loyalty by protecting their dignity. Your beauty is not a coupon, it is a context, and the context is covenantal. You walk at a pace where consent can keep up, emotionally, physically, spiritually.